Hi, it's Faith. Welcome. I've been crying pretty much all day yesterday and all night last night. I am 15 days into my new place, and I live with two men roommates. One is fine, and the other apparently hates women. And he spoke to me yesterday very disrespectfully, and I told him not to speak to me that way. He didn't apologize. He went straight into gaslighting me and playing innocent, like he didn't do anything or say anything wrong. So now in my new place, I'm so uncomfortable. I don't feel safe here. And it's my third room rental in a year. Sorry if I'm going to cry, but I've been through too much. And I walked away. I left an abusive marriage. I took care of my dying sister who passed away in front of my eyes. I lost my job, which made me lose my apartment. And I had to live out of my car for a little bit. I had to sell all my things. And that led me into a job where I make a lot less money. And so now I am in the world of renting rooms because I can't afford rent on my own. And that's with the promotion I just got. Today I'm going to talk about trauma, triggers, and PTSD from abuse. I'm Faith, and this is my journey. Today I want to talk about something that is real, but it's not pretty, and it isn't polished. I want to talk about the reality we don't talk about. If you ever clicked on a video because you feel completely exhausted, tired right down to your bones from fighting just to exist, just to have a baseline of peace, then this video is for you. Lately, my life has been a repeating movie that I did not buy tickets for. And in every single one of them, I wind up dealing with a boundary crossing, controlling person who thinks they can dictate how I speak, how I take up space. And I get it. On the outside, here I look sweet. To a predator, I look like an easy target. And I'm not. That wrecks their reality once they find out, and they basically have a meltdown. And then I'm just left triggered and having PTSD nightmares of my trauma and abuse that I've experienced before. Agreement. Most recently, a minor disagreement with a roommate turned into something much darker. I had to set a clear verbal boundary with him, not to speak to me in a demeaning and disrespectful, inappropriate way that he did. And this didn't lead to a respectful conversation or an apology. No. Mm-mm. That's not the kind of person he is. He launched into full victim mode, gaslighting, playing innocent. What did he do? What did he say? And now I'm paying for a space that I'm no longer comfortable in. I'm walking on eggshells, hiding in my room. I'm having dreams now, disturbing dreams about past abuse and trauma. I want to talk about triggers, PTSD, and the echoes of the past. Here's the hardest part about what happened. It wasn't just an annoying argument with a guy who shares a roof with me. It was a trauma trigger. When he started talking down to me and gaslighting me, my nervous system didn't just register it as an annoying roommate. To me, it rocketed me right back into my past abuse. Some of you might know my story. I left a bad marriage. I had to step away from a narcissistic mother, and I had to distance myself from a controlling father. I fought tooth and nail to break free from these dynamics, specifically so that I could have daily peace, autonomy, and safety, and just be a person. So when a roommate steps in and crosses that boundary and starts playing those exact psychological roles, My body literally reacts with PTSD. My chest tightens, I get hypervigilant. My heart starts racing, I shake, and then I start having disturbing dreams at night. It's real. Complex PTSD isn't just a buzzword, it's a psychological response. Your body remembers every time you were controlled, physically assaulted, every time your safety was threatened. And when you're trapped living with that person day in and day out, your nervous system never gets the memo that you're safe because you aren't safe. Now I want to talk about the exhaustion of the perpetual battle. I'll be completely honest with you. I am so tired. And I know I look it. I've been crying all night and dealing with my nightmares. I don't want to live the majority of my life fighting against assholes just so I can exist. I didn't claw my way out of an abusive family, marriage, just to spend my days managing some grown man's ego in this temporary room rental. When you're dealing with this day after day, it drains your life force. Start asking yourself, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep attracting these people? Society tells us to be better communicators, set better boundaries, vibrate higher, and we won't run into these situations. But let's be real for a moment. You can set boundaries. You can use your voice. I did. I looked him right in the eye and I told him, don't speak to me that way. And what happened? He didn't respect that at all. He gaslit me. You can't logic someone out of toxic, controlling behavior if they are a disrespectful person. And, the problem isn't that I don't know how to handle myself. The problem is that there's a lot of unhealed, boundary violating people out there looking for peace to exploit. The real challenge, living your life while surrounded by the trigger. The part that I'm actively wrestling with is this. I still want to live and enjoy my life. I want to focus on my growth, my work, my creative projects, and my future. I don't want my entire mental bandwidth consumed by the resentment of the man living down the hall. But how do you do that when you're literally around this person every day? When you're home, the one place that's supposed to be your sanctuary, where you're supposed to be safe. It feels like a place you have to escape from. Here's what I'm learning and trying to practice now. Radical acceptance of the present. Acknowledging that right now, my living situation is temporary. I don't have to love it. I just have to survive it while I plan my exit. Taking my power back, making them completely irrelevant to me. They don't get my emotional energy anymore. If they speak, it's just like white noise. My room is my fortress with my locked door. Next, protecting my dreams. Reminding myself that every step I take is building a life toward something that no one can interfere with. If you are watching this and nodding your head because you're living through the same exact cycle, moving from one bad situation to another, dealing with exhausting triggers, fighting, I want you to know two things. Your frustration's valid. You're not alone. I'm not alone. You aren't crazy for being tired. You aren't weak for crying when it gets to be too much. And second, this is a chapter in your story, not the whole book. We are breaking old contracts here. We are learning what true uncompromised sovereignty looks like, even if the road to get there is harder and messier than it has to be. Take care of your nervous system today. Lock your door. Watch something that brings you comfort. And remember, you're worth fighting for. Thank you for listening. Let me know in the comments if you've been there too. This is Faith. I love you. Take care.